Hey, Rockstar. Hey, I got a thought for you today. The very influential speaker and author Ed Milet, he once said, God's not giving you another day because you need one, but because there's someone out there who needs you. Try that thought on for size, Rockstar. Hey, my name is Josafat Emiliano. I am the host of Hey Rockstar. We are a storytelling platform where leaders and entrepreneurs come and share their stories to entertain you, empower you, and encourage you to go and live your greatest story as a leader and entrepreneur, and of course, to become the rock star of your industry. Sit back, relax, because we got one good show for you today. And Miguel, do the thing, yo.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Let's go.
Hey Rockstar, welcome. This is a show devoted to bringing value to those interested in starting a side hustle or side business. Whether you're looking to be dual vocational, full-time, part-time, or sometime, I bet our stories will entertain you, encourage you, and empower you to become the rock star of your business and industry. Yes, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are live. Welcome to Hey Rockstar. Oops, I forgot to say that. Let's try it again. Welcome to Hey Rockstar. Let's go in. Today we have an amazing guest. So help me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome one of my good friends and brother, Brian Brister. How are you, my man?
So good, dude. So excited to be here. How are you?
I am good, man. Texas is it's hot and dry today. It started off nice and cold, but suddenly got all dusty and stormy. So I had to bust out with my antihistamines to help block and be able to breathe.
Jeez.
How's everything back in Nashville? Are you in Nashville right now? I thought you're
I am
traveling.
yes, I actually flew back to Nashville last night, and so I am here. It was like in the low 40s this morning. It's warmed up a little bit, but I'm still sitting here under a blanket because I don't like anything under 70. So
That's right. You are from Cali originally, right? Or are you from New York?
I'm originally from South Mississippi, but
Oh,
Cali was a huge part of my life because of the weather. So
all right. Well, I know who you are. I'm going to take my glasses because I like to make decent eye contact with my guest. And I know who you are, and I know parts of your story. But if you wouldn't mind, just go in and just start sharing some of your story, and then we'll go into what business you're now into. But the platform's yours, my man.
sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity, man. Super excited to chat with you a bit. As I mentioned, I grew up in South Mississippi, was born in a very small town, and then moved to a not much bigger town when I was 10 years old. Went to college and undergrad there in Mississippi. And then I got my bachelor's degree in public relations and music, and then ended up getting my master's degree in fashion photography from Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York. Spent a bit of time in China teaching English at a bilingual school. Spent some time in London shooting fashion photography, and then in New York City, which was my all-time dream, was to live in New York City. Everything about my life, everything I did was to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then once I was there, everything was to stay there. Somehow in that process, I never factored in winter. And after 8 of those, I was like, I actually don't ever want to do this again. I can't do winter. It's not for me. I'm just not the winter guy. So began thinking about it, praying about it, like where can I still shoot fashion? Where can I still be in a major city? Where can I have great weather? Obviously Los Angeles. So moved to Los Angeles, incredible place, so happy. It was absolutely what I wanted. It's also where I began my health journey, which we'll
Mm,
talk more about in just a moment. And then 2.5 years ago, sitting in my apartment in Los Angeles, God said, go to Nashville.
just like
And
that.
I busted out laughing and said out loud, I don't want to do that. He said, trust me, go to Nashville. So 10 days later, me and a U-Haul moved to Nashville. And that there's enough of a story there to cover, 13 episodes. But we
Next
will
season.
we'll hop on back to why we're actually here today. So at the age of 12, I was diagnosed with a thyroid disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Mm,
And that, along with improper nutrition for many years, means that I gained a lot of weight over the years. And I tried different diets and juices and pills and all this kind of stuff through high school, college, post college. And I would lose 20, 30 pounds, but then I'd quit because I'd get tired or bored or just want pizza.
mm.
And so then I would end up gaining all of that weight back plus some. And I living in New York City was a true test to just how low I had gotten, because I was in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. I was on 6 medications a day. I was severely struggling with just the ability of getting around. Like walking up a flight of stairs would take my breath, and I'd have to like sit on the sidewalk or just stand there for a little bit to catch my breath. I am a worship leader as well and have been leading worship since I was 12 years old. And I would literally have to time out like when I would be able to move on stage and still be able to hit notes. And so I was recognizing so many areas of my life that were limited because of the weight that I had put on.
Mm.
I wore custom made orthotics in my shoes for many years because my feet hurt so badly from walking around. But in my mind, I, I didn't know what else to do because I had already done everything. And so I had a couple of friends who had done weight loss surgery who had been really successful with that. So I looked into that. I priced that out. I talked to my family about it a little bit as a possible option in the future. And then I made the decision to move to LA. And right after I moved to LA, actually, the day that I moved to LA is the day it all started. I saw a friend of mine post on social media this before and after of a guy who had lost 110 pounds. And I was like, that doesn't actually seem possible. It's probably a lie. But you know what? I'm going to check out, I'm going to see what it is. So reached out to him and he was like, dude, I would love to have a conversation with you about what is possible. And so we hopped on the phone. He told me all about it. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll try it for a month and see what happens. If it works, sweet. If not, well, as unfortunate as that is, I have wasted money on things before. So
Hear that. I
I,
hear that.
yeah, right. Okay. And so I did, went on this program for the first month, was learning a lot about nutrition and about how to eat better, how to focus on hydration. I had already been a person who drank a decent amount of water, but now begin to really focus on the amount of water that I was drinking every day, making sure that I was getting that in. And in my first month on program, I lost 32 pounds, which
Wow.
results are not typical at all. But that was my personal experience. And so I was like, you know what? I'll keep doing this. I went on to lose 155 pounds, which I never could have fathomed was possible. Whenever we first chatted, he said, if you could lose any amount of weight in the world, what would that be? And I said, I don't know, 100 pounds. And he was like, oh, that's totally doable. And I was like, yeah, you're supposed to say that, but like, you don't have 100 pounds to lose. So, but then I did it and I ended up losing 155 pounds, getting to a healthy BMI, but more importantly, learning what it was going to take to continue to pursue health, to change habits that I had had for so many years, to actually create a lifestyle of change, one healthy habit at a time. And that was the biggest thing for me because everything I had done before had a start and a stop date.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a like, on this day, it's all over. And then I go back to eating whatever I want, which is exactly how I keep ending up back where I don't want to be. And so by recognizing that I'm not the guy that gets to eat, you know, 12 pizzas and 2 gallons of ice cream and a couple Mountain Dews every other day and still be skinny. Now, I'm not saying those guys are healthy because they're not, but I'm not the guy that gets to do that and also be at a healthy weight. That's not how my body functions, especially not with a thyroid disease.
Mm.
And so for me, it's going to take more focus and more commitment to continuing the healthy habits that are necessary. And one of the things that I notice in my own personal life and in a lot of other people that I've talked to is what we eat and drink is one of the only places that most people never consider setting rules and boundaries to get what they want. If you want to save money for a house, you create a budget,
Hmm.
you hire a financial coach, you learn what things you need to do to be able to begin to set money aside. You live on less. We don't do that with nutrition and with hydration most of the time. And there are so many other areas of life that it's the same concept. If I have a goal in business, I know that there are things that I need to do. I need to make a list. I need to have somebody who holds me accountable in that. I need to continue to progress towards this goal. And then once that goal is accomplished, I need a new goal to
Mm.
continue moving forward. And that's another big part of that, where so many people see getting to your goal weight as the final completion. That is the finish line, when in all reality that's just step one. And once you've reached a healthy weight, then you're able to set new goals for your health, continue to progress and move forward in things like that. And so that was a huge mindset shift for me, and just recognizing that my whole life had been about that final number
Yeah.
and not about what it was going to take to not only sustain that, but to continue to optimize and become an even better person in that way.
Wow, man, you just dropped a lot of, I like to call it rock star gold. And I'm gonna kind of push this on a little bit. First of all, let's go. We'll kind of work backwards. Or actually, no, I'll start right here. You mentioned habits and how habits are the main thing that that needed to change first of all. So once you started dealing and once you had control on I mean, I say you have control. Most people would argue we don't, but it's a discipline everyday thing. But once you've created discipline for your health, how did you see that start to affect other areas of your life besides health? I'm just curious.
In literally every way. And I talk about that so often, I'm actually kind of shocked I didn't say it because once you begin to recognize and you see the benefit of what you're doing and the habits that you're creating in those areas, you begin to have this mindset shift of, I can also do this in other things.
Mm-hmm.
Not only I can, but I desire that. And so for me personally, it started with physical health. That was the place that I needed. But then I very quickly realized that so much of the reason that my physical health had struggled for so long was because of mental health
Mm-hmm.
and emotional health and financial health. And so once you begin working on one area, it everything just kind of starts lining up in the other areas and you start recognizing, oh, that's actually an area and that's an area. And so, what I tell a lot of my clients is we're going to start with the physical. That's why you're here. Most of my clients come to me with a physical need, whether that is losing weight or gaining weight or just learning to have a healthy relationship with food. So, it's like we're going to start on the physical, but I want you to be aware that there's going to be mental work, there's going to be emotional work, there's going to be financial work, there's going to be spiritual work in this. And so you're going to begin to recognize in so many other areas of your life where there is the opportunity for growth and the opportunity for you to create new healthy habits if that is something you desire.
That is powerful. That is very powerful because yeah, and you know, man, we're going on so many different tangents, but I love it. When I was studying sales under Taylor Welsh, you know who he is. One of the most profound things he talked about was, you need to start with the physical because your biology will affect your psychology. And whenever you can get yourself physically fit or at least healthy enough that your mind starts flowing the right way, then you can start working on how to work with other people, especially when it comes to doing sales and doing the psychology of speaking and helping others. I know it's just
Mm,
powerful. And most of the people, I've taken on a lot of different trainings, and I'm even right now my current mentor, and they always have some area of you need to take care of something in your health first. It's just detrimental. I mean, this is the vehicle that we are doing life in right now. And if it's not optimized to its best performance, we're gonna struggle. We're gonna lag. We're not gonna be able to move as fast as we want to towards wherever, whatever goal, whatever dream we want to have. But anyway, that's just that. That's a really cool thing that I've noticed. It's just not. It goes beyond just your health. It goes beyond wealth. It goes beyond whatever you choose to do. But anyway, what's another thing you were talking about? Oh, let me know. I want you to elaborate a little bit more about this. What's the importance of setting a new goal once you've accomplished a goal?
yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean
So
to throw these new questions at you. We're gonna
no,
go back to the
this
big
is
five.
great. I love this. This is amazing. And the reason that that is so important is because if you don't have something that you're working towards, then you're not moving forward. And a lot of people would say, "Yeah, but I'm standing really strong on this ground." But if you're not moving forward, you are moving back.
Mm,
To some degree, you are headed back. And it may be little, you may not even notice it at first, but the longer that you go without a goal that you can reach forward to, you will fall back. And that's not just in physical health, that's in so many things. And I can speak to that in a number of areas of my life where I have seen that if I didn't have a goal that I was working towards, and not just a like, oh, that would be cool if, but something that actually compels me every morning when I wake up, that this is the reason that I woke up today because I'm going to do this thing, or I'm
mm,
at least going to move towards this thing, then I'm going to fall back and I'm going to recognize whether it's in a week or a month or in 3 months, just how far I have fallen from where I was. And it, again, it may not be a physical thing. It may not even be a thing that anyone could see if they looked at you, but you will recognize it in an area of your life if you don't have a new goal set to move forward.
So good. Started that old song. I'm not going back. I'm moving ahead. Anyway, he's the worship leader too, y'all. So okay, so let's get back to the original uh plan that we have for this quick show. So let me know, at what point did you make the decision, hey, not only am I doing this for myself and I'm benefiting from it, but I kind of want to help others with it. At what point did this become your mission or your choice of career?
Funny that you ask. So I've mentioned that I'm a Christian and that I've related to God a couple of times in this, but I actually had no desire to be a health coach, none whatsoever. My coach had reached out to me multiple times, being like, "I really think you would be great at this. I really think this is something you should consider." And I was like, "No, thanks, not interested." And I even had a lot of friends at that point who were reaching out, being like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. Go talk to my coach." And I had sent him over 30 people at one point of who people who were interested. And he was like, "Dude, there are so many people that you could be helping. And one, from a financial standpoint, like you could be growing financially by helping these people. But also, all of these people that you're sending to me already have a relationship with you. They already have trust built with you. So if you say, today we're going to do this week we're going to focus on this, it's a lot easier for them to accept that from you because of the relationship they have with you. They don't know me." And I was like, "I don't care. I don't want to do it. I
No
just like
thanks.
no desire." I was like, "I am a worship leader and a fashion photographer. I have
That's
no
a sweet life
desire
too.
to be a health." Yeah, yeah, it didn't suck. I'll be real. But I was like, I have no interest in being a health coach. And so one day we were on the phone and he was like, "Tell you what, I want you to take the weekend and think about it. I want you to make a list of questions or concerns that you have. I'm going to call you on Monday and we're going to chat. If at the end of that phone call, you still say no, I'll never ask you again." And I was like, finally about to shut this boy up. And so on Monday, we talked, finished the whole conversation. It was beautiful, went so well. He was like, "All right, so what do you think?" And I was like, "I don't want to be a health coach." And he was like, "Okay, well, I told you I would never ask again, so I'll never ask again." And we chatted for a bit longer, finished the call. The moment that we hung up the phone, I heard God say, "Be a health coach."
Wow.
And I said, "God, I don't want to do that." And he said, "Trust me, this is it." Which I mentioned earlier, my move from Los Angeles to Nashville. He said, "Trust me, go to Nashville." He has to say, "Trust me," a lot with me, just to remind me that that's what I signed up for, was to trust him. So I called my coach back and I was like, "Hey, I'm in." He was like, "What?" I was like, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this, but God told me to. And if I've learned anything in my life, it's that I'm going to do whatever God leads me to. So whatever you tell me to do, whatever you tell me to say, wherever you tell me to go, I will do that because God told me to do this." So most people have a story of like, "Oh, I was feeling so great. I wanted to help my friends," or "My sister said she'd sign up if I was a coach. So I figured." Mm-mm. God told me to. I didn't want to be here, but it was 1,000,000% exactly what I was supposed to do.
I still remember that one game night that we were doing, the photo team, and our fearless leader actually asked, "Hey, Brian, just curious, what do you do?" And you just said, "I'm a health coach." And like, no one knew this because, as far as I was concerned, you are one of the best takers out there. Photographers. That's the correct word. You just a
I'm a photo
talented
taker. I'm going
individual,
with it.
creative. And so I like, oh, that's pretty cool. But then going back and seeing your Facebook and seeing the pictures you posted, like, oh wow, he has a story of where he came from, and so that's what I thought, because I've met other people in the industry of health and wellness where they have that story where they
Yeah.
had to overcome that well, of course, they had a lot of trauma that led to why they gained the weight rather than having an actual um, some kind of I don't even know how to call the thyroid issue. But but other than that, I just it was cool. I mean, it came as a surprise. I mean, of course, you never know what other people do. But
Yeah,
anyway,
so true.
let's move on and let's get some value out of this. So when you first started and when you finally decided, all right, this is the work I'm going to do, as a business as an entrepreneur, what were some of the first challenges that you first met, starting your business venture?
Well, the first thing that came to mind when you asked the question was the fear of not knowing what to do. And I mean, I had been an entrepreneur for years. I had owned my own photography business and I had
Very
done
cool.
other things. So like I knew, and I also, but with photography, like there are still times that I question, do I actually know what I'm doing? And I have a master's degree in it. So like somebody thought I knew what I was doing. And I still question when I walk into a shoot, do I know what I'm doing? But with this, I felt so out of the realm of understanding because I had never been healthy and I had never
Mm,
done it. And I still wasn't healthy at the point that I became a health coach. I still had weight to lose. I had still had things to learn. And so that was even harder for me to be like, and I remember telling my coach in one of the conversations, I was like, you don't go to the gym looking for a personal trainer and pick the guy who looks like he's still eating 10 donuts a day. Like, that's not the one you pick. So, like, no one's going to want me to be their health coach. And he said, I understand what you're saying, but I also respectfully want to tell you that you're wrong. He said, because people want people that they can trust. People want people they can believe in. People want people who understand them. And people want someone that they can actually see them on the journey with them. So you have a really intricate story that allows you the opportunity to not lead people from the front, but to say, actually, you know what? Let me take your hand and let's just walk side by side because I'm still doing this too. And that was such a beautiful representation of the gospel and of what my life as a Christian looks like is I'm not trying to lead somebody somewhere. I'm just saying, hey, you know what? We're all on this journey. I saw a sign one time that said the cool part about life is that we're all just grabbing hands and walking each other home. And I think of that sign all the time, and that's what this was. It was like, I'm going to be real with you and tell you that I'm not the guy that knows everything. I don't have a master's degree in this. I did get certified as a health coach, so like I do have a certification understanding. I have a lot more knowledge 5 years in than I did when I started. But at the end of the day, all that I'm doing is saying, hey, here's my hand. And if you want to walk this journey with me, then I'm totally down to do that with you.
well, that's a great obstacle to have overcome or overcame. And the funny thing is, most people when they first start business venture, that's what they always say. They don't know anything about business. They don't know anything about, well, at least that new industry, that new
Yeah.
adventure, as I like to say. And but yeah, that's the best way to learn. The best way to learn is just jump in. And I love that you said that you are of the humble coach, where you're not the Mr. Know-it-all guru. You're the, no, I'm doing this with you. I'm in the trenches with you. It's we're gonna figure this out. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
I had a mentor who he used to always say that. Let's just figure it out. There's a way to do this, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Actually, it's interesting because one of the things that he said when I first started coaching is a thing that I have mentioned to many other people in other areas of business as well. And that is whatever your thing is, whatever it is that you are doing in business, how do you break that down to the most basic level that you could tell a child how to do it? And so, for what I was doing and am doing in that time, it is eat the food, drink the water, talk to your coach, and read the educational material that is going to help you transform your mind. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, but at the end of the day, that's it. So, in whatever area of business that you're in, what is the most dumbed down, and I don't like that term, but what is the most basic idea of what you do that if you told it to a child, they'd be like, oh, okay.
For me is tell stories, make people laugh, make them feel, and show them that they can live their story too. And we'll figure it out
I
how.
I love that. And if you tell a kid that, then every kid in the world's going to want to grow up to be a host of that. So why not? Let's go with that.
Let's go. Let's go be rock stars of our own
That's it,
right
man.
and tell great stories.
Yes, sir.
No, thank you, thank you. Um, I love that. I love that. So yeah, I guess everyone just do that self-reflecting. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show, but if you have a comment or you want to jump in the chat and you put something that's just relevant to what we're saying, we will highlight you right now. Give us a shout out. If you love Brian, just say, "Hey, we love you, Brian," and we'll give you a shout out. And then towards at the end, I'll try to capture all of them and enjoy the rest of the show. So now you've been at this for 5 years now?
Almost 5 years. Yeah. So
All right.
crazy.
So, and you kind of already shared something, but what have been some just great takeaways or some just big life lessons that you like? Oh man, I've learned this and I can teach this to other people.
Yeah. So on top of the point that I just shared is the idea of recognizing that there are always people who need the solution to what it is that you offer. Always. There are never going to be too many of you in the world. And I have had this conversation with a number of people who are like, oh, well, I can't do that because I live in a smaller town and I already know someone who kind of does that. And I'm like, that doesn't matter because they don't have the same connections that you do. They don't meet the same people in the grocery store. They don't go to the same coffee shop. They don't travel to the same vacations. You are going to meet people all throughout life that were supposed to be in that moment to meet you and for you to meet them. And it may not always be because you have something that they need, but in the midst of meeting a bunch of people in your life, there's going to be some of them who do. And the earth is continuing to grow more people. People love having children. And so we're just keep going that number. So there are always going to be people in the world who need what it is that you offer.
I was gonna
And so
say,
that's
I hear they're fun to make.
so I've been told.
Sorry, interrupt you.
No, no, that's totally fine. And so that's a really big thing as well, is just recognizing that you offer a solution that there are always going to be people looking for. And in my case, as being a health coach, I think about the fact that even though I may not know who they are, there are people who are just like me, who are crying themselves to sleep at night because they're so miserable in their body and they can't imagine not living the rest of their life like this because they've tried so many things and failed. And they just say, I guess I just have to accept that this is the life that I've been given. And I can walk in and say, no, I see you and I feel that and I recognize that. But what I've found to be true is this. And so that's another really big thing that I've learned in this experience is that there's always someone else. There's always someone that you can meet. There's always someone needing what you offer as a business person.
I'm trying to remember of something that one of my recent mentors was. He's saying something about your experience is, I'm gonna look for that that quote that he said, because it's a really good. He says all the time, and I wrote it down, but I forgot to share. But it just basically talks about, you know, um, your experience is unique. No one else has had
Mm,
the experience that you have, and so it is up to you to bring it, to share it. People need what you're going through. You know, is
yeah,
that me or you? Oh no, that's mine. Um, Sorry, we got
yeah.
some. Can you hear anything else?
I hear a little bit, but it's very
All
muffled.
right, cool. No worries. Just bad
Yeah,
timing
but
on our
one
roommates.
more thing that
Oh, go
I
for it.
recognized was, so I had an executive leadership coach that I worked with for almost a year. And it was at a time in my business that I was feeling super burnout and like, I don't know if I can keep going. And I don't know if this is right for me. And I know that God called me to this, but maybe it was only for a year or two. And it's like, where do we go from here? What does this look like? And he made a statement that stopped me in my tracks. And he said, you can still be doing the right things for the wrong reasons, and you will experience burnout. He was like, just because you're doing the right things doesn't mean burnout won't come. He said, because if you have forgotten why you're doing them, or if you have started doing them only, in my case, if I lose sight of people and I lose sight of connection, then I'm going to burn out every time. Do I want to make money? Yes, because I'm a business owner and I have to pay rent and I have to, pay a car payment and I have to do all of these things to live my life. So money is an integral part of that. So yes, I want to make money. However, for me personally, the really cool thing about what I do as a health coach is that every dollar that I make is attached to a life transformed. So when I feel myself starting to burn out and when I feel myself starting to get there, I can remember and bring it all back to, why did I say yes to this in the beginning? Because God told me to, and because I believe that there are people out there who deserve to live the life that they desire. And if I can keep those two things at the forefront of my focus in every conversation that I go in, burnout's going to be a lot harder to come by.
Wow. Dude, we have a lot in common. Because in my talks, I talk about life plans, and what do you do when your life plan fails? I teach people to detach from that failure, at least detach their identity from failure, because
Mm,
they're not the failure. I
yeah.
mean, take ownership of it, but you're not the failure. It's the plan you use that failed. You're not broken. It's the system that you're probably dependent on that's broken. So change the system, change the plan, change the mindset. But I harp on, basically, being a speaker, I use acronyms. So I have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. And the plan A is, I call it the adopted plan, which is where usually people start. When you don't have a clue, you just adopt your family, your friends, or when you're a kid, what's the one thing the kids always say? When I grow up, I want to be like so and so. So we adopt this life plan, and it might be for us. Sometimes it's not for us. Sometimes, in my case, I had adopted the plan that everyone assumed that I was meant to take. So being younger and kind of on. I was being a people pleaser. I followed that plan religiously, and when it didn't work, when I failed, I switched over to Plan B, which is the busy plan. We know it as fake it till you make it. Other people call it, at least in Christian circles, we call it faith it till you make it. But the deal is, and you just said this, when you are busy doing something that there is no passion or there is no purpose for you to do it, it will lead to burnout. You will
Mhm.
you will burn yourself out, because that's where I was at. I burnt myself out, which is why I found myself in Nashville. I didn't hear God call me there, but basically I was escaping from. I was burnt out. I was broken. I was busted. And when I got off of the field and came back to the States, people who knew me were just like, "Hey, get back into ministry. Hey, we have an opening here. We have an opening there." And I'm like, "No, I need a rest. I need a break. I just need to get away." So I got away from people who knew me, went to Nashville where no one knew me. And when I went when I finally found the belonging a year later, and had a meeting with Pastor Henry, the first thing I told him is like, I don't want to serve in any kind of ministry position right now. And he's like, dude, he's like, bro, get it. Take your time, rest, do community. When you're ready to come back, you're not come back to judgment, condemnation. Come back to family. Because as far as we're concerned, you're
Yeah.
family. When I came back, I asked, hey, where can I plug in that's not involved on stage? Anything, anything like ministry, what I consider ministry, like teaching, preaching, even worship. And that's when I got involved in the media, which, as you know, that took me off. Especially in the broadcast, I grew to where I was at, and then finally I was able to get back to cons where I originally signed up with the photography. But that was just a whole. And here's the cool thing. I was talking to Ashley about this. Man, this is just all right. You're bringing this.
I love it, dude. Keep going.
It was like it was Saturday, in between services. Like we were just kind of resting, and I was getting excited because I was about to jump in and get to shoot with you guys because they would let me shoot to the last service. Uh, but uh, but the whole time I was there, I was asking God, why, what's going on, Lord? Because the funny thing is, everyone who went up there to talk, to preach, to speak something, they brought some great gems, some great revelations. But the cool thing is, it wasn't new. These were things the Holy Spirit was revealing to me as I was sharing, as I was speaking, as He's opened up doors for me to go back out there and speak. And at that point, I realized that the 8 years that I was in Nashville was a time for me to rest, to heal, to really get in tune, to see what exactly He wanted me to do. Because He wanted me to go. He wants me to get back out there in ministry, but not in that mindset of dependency and people pleasing, but it's of going out there and just trusting that I hear what God says and I'm moving forward in that. And this time in Nashville was like, it was kind of like, it was my training grounds, my resting ground. Is like having to rebuild myself up. But I learned to serve. I learned to serve in the shadows. I learned to set up the mics. I learned to tear up and load in and out all the production aspect of it. It was a powerful time, not a humility, oh yeah, a humbling time. And so now whenever I go out there and speak, whenever I go out there and do anything ministry wise, I am very appreciative of the people who set up the mics for us, who set up the stage for us. I'm constantly giving them gratitude, and they're not used to that, but I'm pouring into because I'm not sure if you knew this, but what I discovered, my main gifting at the belonging was to highlight the servant leaders. That's why most of my photos, most of the videos was capturing their story, telling, honoring them. I wanted them to realize we appreciate what you're doing because, and I still that to do this to this day whenever I go and speak. So anyway, all that to say that it was just a great time. I was able to heal. I was able to rest. And now that I'm going out there, I'm honored. I'm able to honor those who work so hard to stage for whomever goes out there. So, and I
That's
was
so
telling
special,
Ashley that, and
dude.
she's like,
Oh.
almost like, don't make me cry. I was like, God, I know. I just, it's such a, like, I saw myself like the new me, not the guy who came many years ago and needed just a place to rest, but the healed me. And now God's like, now I'm calling you out to something bigger and greater. Kind of
Amen.
story. Anyway, so this is the Brian show, not the host of Fat Show. I have other days to talk about myself, my story. So that any other beautiful like takeaways you want to throw in here or add?
I'm sure there are some, but
Nope.
I think we've gone with like a couple that'll work for now.
That works. All right. If you want the rest, you need to hire Brian for that stuff. All right. So we've covered those two main questions that I like to ask. Let's see. I feel like I left one out, but you know what? It is what it is. You've given me so much gold already, but I do know that now moving forward, what kind of plans or what kind of vision do you have for your business or and career path?
Yeah, so I actually can't believe I'm about to say this out loud, because I have been thinking about this for months, close to a year probably, and have not told anyone until yesterday when I was sitting at coffee with a dear friend of mine in Philadelphia, and we were just chatting back and forth about some things. And I was taking the time to encourage him in his business and what he was doing. And that led me to saying, because one of the things that I've been thinking about, and then I just said it all, and then I was like, I had no intentions of saying that out loud. I am very much a person who's like, I have this idea and I'm going to think about it. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to plan about it. And then when it feels like it's probably going to work and I'm ready to launch it tomorrow, then I'm going to tell someone.
So you heard it
So,
here
but
second, folks.
there you go. There you go. But one of the things that I've recognized most in working with, and I have a lot of clients who are women, but in working with the men who are struggling and who have tried everything and are trying to move forward, essentially the men who I relate to because I see myself in their struggle. One of the things that I've recognized is that so many of these people are like, I'm here to lose some weight and I don't want to be fat anymore. And then I'm going to go and we're going to say goodbye and I'm going to go live my life. And then in a year, they come back and they've put on 30, 40, 50 pounds because they didn't make a change and they didn't change their habits and they didn't do the mindset work. And I also have had conversations with other people who aren't looking for help physically, but they recognize that there are mindset things that need to happen. And there are just other areas of their life that can focus. And so, one of the things that I am going to start working on in the coming year is doing like small group coaching, but only on mindset for men specifically. Just getting a group of 4 or 5 guys together and like, where are you currently? Where do you want to be? Do you even know the answer to those questions? Like, can you sit down and say with no emotion, but just pen to paper, this is where I am? Do you have a vision of what you want your life to be? If not, that's totally fine. We can work on that too. But if you do have a vision of where you want your life to be, then what can we do to help you get there? What things are holding you back? What limiting beliefs do you have? What red light stories are you telling yourself that say that I'll never be enough? I'll never be able to go. I'll never be able to do. The people from my town said that I'd never be successful. My dad didn't believe in me.
Mm.
So many things. And just really stripping all of that away in a safe space with a couple of other guys because I'm a huge believer in community, the importance of community. I constantly talk to people about the fact that I don't believe that we were designed to do life alone.
Yeah. No.
And if we weren't designed to do life alone, then why are there areas of our life that we believe we have to do alone? I'm also speaking to myself right now by saying that I
Mm.
think about things all the way through until they're ready to go and don't tell anyone. I should probably bring community into that. See how that works?
Yes.
Um, so
You're
there's
speaking my
that.
language, man. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. And so just recognizing, because that's the other thing is men, especially in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, have one, sometimes two or three guys that they actually feel close and connected to, but rarely do they share all of their hopes and fears and dreams and aspirations with those guys. Usually they've got the sports guy, and I can talk about my marriage guy, and I can talk about a little bit about my business. I can to this guy, but it's a lot more rare for guys to open up and be willing to say, actually, here's my heart, and here's what sets me on fire. And here's the thing that, like, if time and money weren't a part of the equation, this is how I would show up every day. What do you guys think about that? It's rare if it happens at all. And my dad was an incredible human. I'm so thankful for him. He believed in me completely. He constantly told me how proud he was of me and that I could accomplish anything that I wanted and all of those things. But I recognized many times that he didn't have a person like that in his life.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to create a space that allows men to come together to figure out where they are, where they want to be, what it's going to take to get there, and also make some deep friendships in that time that they can continue to hold each other accountable and move forward in that way. Do I know what that looks like completely? Absolutely not. But I also feel so deeply that it is needed that I'm willing to be the guy who goes, hey, I don't really know where this is going or what it's going to look like, but if you want to join hands with me, I'm willing to walk with you and figure it out.
That sounds like a mastermind I'd join. Most men today don't have any kind of spaces like that anymore, or they used to, but they've been infiltrated just for And I'm not gonna go into that kind of aspect, but because I do know the difference, the how guys tend to change their conversations around other guys when even when one girl shows up. Suddenly, there's
Yeah,
different. They can't be as open as free, and
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
we're not gonna get
and
into
I'm
that.
I'm
Just
I'm a huge fan of females. I love them
oh
a
yeah,
lot, actually. But I also recognize that, yeah, the conversation is different. It is.
it is. No man. Actually, I'd like to know more about that, or if you're willing to expand, we can even kind of work on a mastermind. That's kind of on my project to do, because I've never, as a speaker, I've always used my financial services as kind of like my offer, but they're encouraging me now to create like coaching for those who want to follow the paths that I've been using on how to live your life that you want to live,
Mhm.
or live your greatest story. That's how I like to say it. Um, and but I'm also thinking, beyond that, like, well, once I have like a coaching that's going to last a certain season, but how can I keep things going? I was thinking like I would like something continual. I would like something
Yeah.
that people can subscribe to and be a part of, and it's more like just doing life with others, but a safe space. So I would put it behind paywall, just
Mhm.
simply because when something's behind a paywall, it tends to you know, uh, it kind of helps, I guess, trollers or people you don't want in there to not come in, kind of situation.
Yeah,
Because I want to create a
100%.
safe place
It also,
for the people.
yeah, also the financial buy-in to something like that gives it more weight for
Mhm.
you as a participant. And it
Most
gives you
definitely.
the, I'm going to care about this because I feel that financial pull in joining.
And all right, I have some other people we can talk to, but anyway, whenever you're ready, man. I'm not gonna try to push you to do anything. Just know that I would love to help you out and be a part of that too, because it seems like
Sweet, dude.
something something that we're on the same boat for. So just
I
any
love it.
before I ask the last question, which is actually kind of a silly question, but any final thoughts that you want to share before we dismiss this? 'Cause you give me a lot, and we're going on minute 53 right now.
Crazy. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I'll say is that while I have talked a lot about helping men, and that is a huge passion point of mine, and I do truly want to continue doing that, I have also coached several hundred women. And my mom was actually one of my clients, which is super exciting. I grew up with three sisters. I'm the only boy, so I've always been around women. So I am open to coaching women, to taking on new clients who are women as well. I don't want people to go, oh yeah, I mean he only coaches men, so I'm out. Like no, I've coached a lot of women over the time, and am also still taking on female clients that are looking for change and are willing to make those changes. So
Oh,
just
no,
wanted to
most
throw that
definitely.
out there.
Yeah, no, we're not trying to tell girls no, you're no girls allowed. We're the He-Man Woman Haters Club. No, no, we love women. Matter of fact, in my coaching, it's open to women too, because I'm all about the
Mhm.
storytelling. Because I was it's funny because different people are different the way we reach out to them, and I had one guy say, no, you need to be tough in their face and the stuff like. Yes, if I was talking to only guys, but I know that women won't like, well, I mean, not all, I'm not trying to generalize everyone, but they might kind of take it as something different. So like, but I want to be open to to other people. But the that's space is just something I'm interested in for my own benefit. You know, I want a place like that for me, so I can be the best, so I can receive for myself too. But anyway, so
Yeah.
yes, on that note, man, you know, you have a successful business. You're here to help people become the healthiest version of themselves. Apart from other stuff that you probably still do, you still freelance in photography and fashion. I'm assuming because you're just a stylish guy to begin with. And that hair, man, he had his hair in the bun. I thought I was gonna let it loose like it did in the picture.
Oh, I'm so
No
sorry.
worries, no worries. But if you want to be found, how else can people find you online?
Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, I am at Brian Brister on pretty much every social media platform there is. And I would say that I do use Instagram and Facebook the most. And that is where you can get like the most up-to-date idea of what's going on in my life, but also what I'm currently working on. And I do share a lot of quote unquote behind the scenes there. I try to be super open and real with people about what's going on, where I'm at. So I love sharing that. Stories are the greatest gift that we've been given in recent years from social media. The opportunity to just show up as where we are and what we're doing and what we're loving without thinking that we have to paint it so beautifully, and just an opportunity to show up real and raw. So yeah, look me up at Brian Brister. You can also check out brianbrister.com for some of my photo stuff, although there is photo stuff also on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, I would love to connect with you guys. Give me a follow and let's go from there. Also, give me
Yes,
a follow, send me a DM, let me
yes,
know you're here. Like let's chat. Let's be
yes,
friends.
everyone. Please, yeah, follow Brian. He's got some good stuff on his socials. So,
Thanks,
let me
dude.
go and don't go anywhere. I'm just gonna put you in the background for now, but you're still gonna be in the studio. So if you cough or sneeze or say
Cool.
something, we'll hear you, man. Let me just close up the show and get right back to this. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been episode 91 of Hey Rock5tar, featuring our health coach Brian Brister, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm coming to you from Andrews, America. Again, thank you for joining us here at Hey Rockstar, a show where we it's a storytelling platform. Again, like I said earlier, where entrepreneurs and leaders come and share their stories to entertain you, encourage you, and empower you to go and live your greatest story as a leader, as an entrepreneur, so that you then can go and become the rock star of your industry. And if you want anything, if you want to learn more about Brian, please look up all his socials. If you want to work with me, as you know, I'm all about helping you live your greatest story so that you can find fulfillment and also leave a legacy. So until next time, again, just we wish you much love and many blessings.